This picture brings together the tech kings: Mark Zuckerberg of Meta, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Sundar Pichai of Google, and Elon Musk of Tesla. Not only are they seen as tech gods, but their combined net worth just crossed $700 billion. In other words, Mark, Jeff, and Elon are all centibillionaires, people worth over $100 billion. Of course, with the ups and downs of the US stock market, these numbers can change overnight. But let's be honest, these billionaires still sleep just fine without worrying much. About 85 years ago, the idea of a centibillionaire was completely unheard of. And yet, today, according to Forbes' 2025 billionaire list, there are already 15 people who've reached this milestone, up from just 6 in 2023. Pretty wild, if you think about it. Back when Forbes first started tracking billionaires in 1987, they had to dig deep just to find 2 Japanese tycoons worth more than $28 billion each, inflation adjusted. Today, $28 billion isn't even enough to crack the top 50. From this, we can see 2 things. The rich are getting richer. Inflation keeps eating away at the value of money. In today's video, we're going to talk about why ordinary Americans, people like you and me, struggle to afford basic needs like housing, food, and clothing, while billionaires keep piling up more wealth. Quick note, this video is researched and compiled from many sources. If something seems off, feel free to drop a comment below. Just in 2024 alone, billionaire wealth grew by about $2 trillion, a growth rate 3 times faster than the global economy. The crazy part? The richest Americans often pay less in taxes than many average workers. Here's a fun way to picture it. If you earned $1 every second, you'd become a millionaire in 12 days. But to hit $1 billion, it would take you 31 years. And the richest people on Earth don't just stop at 1 billion. They own tens or even hundreds of billions, and their wealth keeps growing. In 2024, total billionaire wealth jumped from $13 trillion to $15 trillion in just 12 months. That means there are around 10 people on Earth who wake up $100 million richer every single day. For us regular folks, wealth can also grow, but it happens slowly, sustainably, over time. But here's the problem. This wealth gap isn't just about numbers on paper. Sums that large can distort entire economies, shape politics, and even influence global events in ways most of us can't imagine. In the US, Musk, Bezos, and Zuckerberg together have more wealth than half of all Americans combined. That's over 170 million people. And that fact matters, because history shows that every revolution, war, or wave of social unrest starts when the majority feels unhappy with how resources are distributed. When the economy weakens, living standards fall, and the rich seem untouchable, society grows unstable. Add in America's racial tensions and immigration debates, and you get a recipe for political extremism. Either left-wing populism demanding wealth redistribution, or right-wing populism trying to defend concentrated wealth and power. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio put it bluntly. I've studied 500 years of history. When the rich get too rich, the poor get too poor. Governments and people are deep in debt, and the economy weakens. Conflict is inevitable. One of the biggest consequences of the widening wealth gap is the shrinking middle class. A strong middle class is the backbone of any healthy economy. Watch any American movie from the 80s or 90s, and you'll see families where one parent works, the other stays home, and they still live comfortably. But since the 2000s, that picture has faded. The 2008 housing crash triggered a global financial crisis. Europe then faced a second wave in 2011. Across the West, small businesses shut down, unemployment rose, and families struggled to get by. The following decade brought weak growth, and then came COVID. Government lockdowns froze economies. Relief policies helped the wealthy most, while regular people took the hit with inflation, stagnant wages, and soaring living costs. Meanwhile, politicians boasted about record stock markets. But let's be clear. Rising stock prices mostly made the rich richer. They did little for everyday Americans. Money makes money. That's a nice truth if you already have it. If you don't, it feels brutal. So, how do billionaires keep getting richer? A few key paths: inheritance, monopolies, and legal loopholes. Take inheritance. In 2023, more new billionaires got their wealth from family fortunes than from building something themselves. If you're under 30 and a billionaire, chances are your parents were already rich. And then there's the infamous tax strategy known as buy, borrow, die. They buy assets, stocks, real estate that grow in value. They borrow against those assets to fund their lifestyles. Loans aren't taxable. And when they die, clever estate planning often means their heirs pay little to nothing in taxes. That's how billionaires can live in mansions, buy yachts, and own islands, while officially reporting very little taxable income. Another driver is monopoly power. Nearly 18% of billionaire wealth comes from companies that dominate industries. Amazon controls a huge share of e-commerce. Google has over 90% of search. Meta owns 4 of the 5 biggest social platforms. Monopolies aren't just about money, they're about power, which can influence government policies themselves. Last year, Oxfam predicted it would take about a decade before we saw the world's first trillionaire. Now, they say it could happen in just 5 years. But let's be clear. More billionaires doesn't mean regular people are doing better. Look at India, Mexico, or Brazil. They have plenty of billionaires, but their GDP per capita is far below places like Switzerland or Sweden. That means wealth is heavily concentrated at the top, not spread across society. Economists call this the Cantillon effect. When new money is pumped into the economy, it doesn't flow evenly. The people closest to the source, the rich and big corporations, get it first. They buy up assets before prices rise. By the time money trickles down to average people, inflation has already kicked in. That's why stimulus checks during COVID felt good at first, but prices shot up soon after, especially for housing and stocks. Regular people's wages lagged behind, while asset owners saw their wealth explode. So what can be done? Some propose higher taxes on the ultra-rich to fund public goods like healthcare and education. Others say the focus should be on closing loopholes that let billionaires legally pay almost nothing, like stock buybacks, offshore tax havens, and creative accounting. It's not about punishing success. It's about making sure society isn't built to only favor those already at the very top. But these solutions are complicated, vary by country, and take time. What works in the US might fail in India or Vietnam. At the end of the day, money alone doesn't create a better society. What matters is how we use it. Whether it goes into real resources like schools, hospitals, infrastructure, and innovation, or whether it just piles higher in the bank accounts of a few. So, what do you think? Are we heading toward a more balanced future, or will the gap keep widening? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video.